Um, I didn't fucking complete the route, so I'm just gonna do that real quick. It's probably a good thing that, like, nobody's really been watching anyway, so let's solve a mystery real quick. It's been bothering you for a while, but for someone who claims to follow in the footsteps of the very gutsiest of gumshoes, James seems pretty unmotivated to find out who's been trying to murder her all these years. Perhaps you should use the means at your disposal to finally put this mystery to rest once and for all? You suggest to Jane that maybe you should try to ascertain who the parcel was sent by.
By whom the parcel sent? By whom was the parcel sent?
What?
Grammar, silly! It's very important!
Oh, of course! I suppose you agree with that. After all, this is a text-based medium, and shoddy craftsmanship can only ever obscure information. Proper adherence to linguistic conventions is of the utmost importance, ensuring the conveyance of salient details in a timely and comprehensible manner.
But damn it, Jane, now isn't the time! You've got a case to solve! Yes, all right, but what exactly are you proposing that we do? There's very little evidence that we could feasibly collect.
The two of you look forlornly out of the window again, down to where the mailbox should be. Jane is right. That avenue of investigation went up in smoke a few minutes ago. The investigation has barely gotten started, and the trail has already gone cold in a blazing ball of fire.
I'd suggest asking at the mail office or similar, but I don't suppose they know anything detailed about the package's origins. It's not like regular mail workers have access to that kind of information. To make matters worse, the mail is one of the few public services Crocker Corp doesn't partially own, so I wouldn't be able to pull any strings. I don't suppose there was anyone watching at the time that the bomb was placed either.
You have to admit the possibility seems somewhat remote, but that gives you an idea. If there aren't any witnesses to hand, why not make some yourselves?
What, bribe someone to falsify testimony or similar? That's certainly a novel way of going about it.
James seems to be giving it a lot more thought than you would have expected, but in any case, that wasn't at all what you meant. He explained to Jane that far from merely being able to transportalize between any two physical locations, you also possess the ability to time travel, ificate, to any point in the past or future.
Not to be rude, considering that you did just save my life and everything, but that does sound more than a little far-fetched.
Jane seems pretty skeptical about this, but you honestly can't be bothered to work through all her personal misgivings about belief and the feasibility of time travel right now. You've been through this with more than a dozen people already. You decide to take a more proactive approach, seeing is believing after all. You grab her wrist and zap back in time. Jane? Meet past Jane. Jane, meet future Jane. You trust that this will suffice as evidence?
I don't.
Alright, moving on. You appear fine next to the bush that you hid behind earlier and take refuge in it once again. A conveniently abandoned wristwatch on the ground nearby indicates that you have traveled an hour into the past. No sign of the white cat yet. The mailbox is there in all its beautiful, unexploded majesty, but stands empty as of right now. This is perfect. All you have to do now is wait for the truth to come to you. See, Jane, isn't this exciting? Jane? Fuck, what's my Roxy voice? 911, what's your emergency? Please note that misplaced apostrophes on shop signs do not constitute an emergency. N.
Lalonde, help! I'm stuck in the past!
Lamau. Yes. What that tipped you off? Was it the fact that nobody else talks like it's the 1920s?
What? No, I mean this entirely literally. I am quite literally stuck in the past in a temporal sense.
Oh no, wait, really? Who told you that? Bet it was TT. I bet it was TT. Yonking my thunder, goddammit. Strider.
No, you're not listening to me. I have been transported back in time by a mysterious entity who recently saved my life from yet another ridiculous assassination attempt.
Oh, okay. Damn. False alarm, I guess. Wait, GCAT can time travel now?
No, this is a different mysterious entity. It doesn't seem related to the god cat as far as I can tell.
They rescued me from a puzzle bomb in the mailbox a short while ago and have since taken it upon themselves to help me find out who was responsible. They're remarkably enthusiastic about the issue. Almost as if it were their civic duty somehow. So, a number of mysterious abilities. Intimate knowledge of male safety, and a compulsion to aid random citizens. Are you sure this person isn't just your mailman, Janie? I mean, who knows what kind of magic those little guys can pull off? I'm pretty certain they have absolutely nothing to do with the profession of mail delivery in any practical sense. Anyway, the point is, we're now an hour in the past from our perspective, waiting for the perpetrator to place a bomb that's not a few minutes ago threatened to blow me to kingdom come. It's all a bit much to take in. Well, shucks, Buster. Shucks, Buster, indeed. While Jane has busied herself with something on her phone, you've been keeping a lookout for anything suspicious. So far, nothing has happened, but now, just out of sight, you can hear the telltale sound of a vehicle approaching. You quickly, gently elbow Jane in the ribs to get her attention, and the two of you peek your heads tentatively out of the bush. You watch as an unassuming van pulls up outside the house. You keep watching as an unremarkable person gets out and carries the small pile of mail over to the mailbox, totally unsuspiciously. From this distance, you can't really make out anything about them at all. This isn't nearly as helpful as, or informative as you had hoped. This is no good. We can't see anything from all the way over here. I think we might have to resort to one of the more advanced tactics in every detective's arsenal. I propose that we accost this delivery worker, tie them up, and then scrupulously interrogate them for any information they might have. You guess that would work? Jane seems remarkably unconcerned with ethical qualms inherent in assaulting a public servant, and at some point, you would have found this extremely alarming, but after a few months on Alternia, you are so accustomed to this kind of thing that the thought of actually disagreeing doesn't even occur to you. Ooh, sorry. Trying to find the little map. There it is. Jane gets into position to lead the charge. You reach your hand into a tear in reality, rummage around for a moment, and retrieve a long length of rope from somewhere in Terezi's hive. Hopefully she won't miss it. You mutter a quick prayer of apology to the guardian deities of male workers everywhere, and then... No! The two of you leap from your hiding spot and tackle the hapless stranger just as they are about to climb back into the van. Have at you! Jane is brandishing her trusty spoon as threateningly as any sword. The poor defenseless postman is taken completely by surprise and topples to the ground. You quickly time their arms and legs, and then zap all three of you back out of sight behind the bushes again. Then, Jane sets to work. She fixes your captive with a cast-iron stare, and with ruthless efficiency begins to rattle off a relentless team of astute and insightful questions. Her tongue is like a whip, beating her quarry into submission. You watch in silent horror as she verbally dismantles this unfortunate soul, piece by fearful piece. It's like watching a dozen interrogation scenes from a dozen gritty crime dramas and noir detective flicks all at once. She pretends to smoke an invisible cigar at one point, seemingly without noticing at all. You don't even have words for what she does with the spoon. When Jane finally pauses to catch her breath, the nameless and faceless courier manages to choke out a few words and spill the beans. It is a scant few beans, you are sorry to say. They say they don't know much. Hell, with the dame roughing them up like that, they can't even remember their own name. But they do remember the mysterious package marked "Handle with Care" and addressed to the Crocker residence. They say they remember thinking that there was nowhere else the package could have been headed. With a surname like that, it was only fitting. You know, with the big red spoon on the side of the box and everything. Jane doesn't say anything else. She just stands up and unties the prisoner. They're free to go. You flash them a look, which you hope says something like, "I'm sorry for helping this distressed teenager tie you up in order to satisfy your curiosity, and I appreciate your ongoing public service, but you've never been great at nonverbal communication." A notification rings out from Jane's phone. Perhaps chatting to a friend in this trying time will offer her some comfort? You wander a short distance away, allowing Jane some space to process what's happened. You've learned the hard way that privacy is a fundamental right that should always be respected. How goes the investigation? Did you threaten a retail worker or something yet? Oh, IMG. Janie, you did, didn't you? God damn, we talked about this. Jane, are you okay?
No.
Uh,
I can't believe that I'm typing this. The company. My company.
it appears that they were the ones who sent the bomb. Oh. Okay.
You were right about them, I suppose.
You're being serious right now. You're not, like, praying me super hard for the megalols?
No, of course not. I'm hardly in a joking mood.
Oh. Jane, this is great.
What?
You finally pulled through. The battered bitch had the wool over your ass by no more. I'm so happy.
What? No, this is awful.
Oh, right. Of course I meant was that.
Will you please just stop talking for a second? I can't think with the endless ruddy face blathering all the time. I nearly died for the umpteenth time this morning, but survived only to have my entire worldview to collapse before my very eyes by some way of mysterious time travel magic. Jeez Louise, this is easy for you. In fact, this must be Christmas and birthday come early for all three of you. You finally got what you wanted, which was to prove me wrong. You insane collective conspiracy about my entire life being part of some evil plot looks like it might just hold water after all. Congratulations. Go on, say that you told me so. Here, I'll even type it out for you to copy and paste so that you won't have to worry about any more face spelling errors. I told you so. No?
Not really sure what to say. You're kind of scaring me.
I'm sorry. This is scaring me too.
Jane sighs. You guess the conversation must be taking a turn for the heavy, but you can't say for sure. Feeling good about your decision not to pry into this private discussion. It would truly be some kind of fucked up to intrude at such a vulnerable moment when people are rarely seen at their best. It feels as though I'm in the middle of an ocean. Scratch that. It feels like my whole world is an ocean. Something so immense, so dark, so vast and deep that I can't even begin to imagine what might be beneath the surface. Everything that I've ever known, everything that I've ever been is sinking down into it and vanishing with nary a trace, and my only solace is to jump of my own volition before I'm pulled under by force. And what? Is someone going to catch me and help me stay afloat? The only float my best friend in the whole world has any familiarity with is flipping cocktails. Oh my god. Jane, I know you're like being kind of mean and exasperated right now, but it means a lot to hear that I'm your best friend. I love you, heart.
Rolal, please, I'm trying to express the depths of my existential confusion over here. The ocean, Lalonde, the abyssal, infinite ocean. Can you even imagine what that's like? On second thought, never mind. This whole analogy is contrived and nonsensical and couldn't possibly have any emotional relevance to anyone.
Another sigh.
God, I'm sorry. I'm not handling this well.
I mean, to be honest, no. But let's be real, I don't know what precise arrangement of emotional responses would even realistically qualify as, quote, handling this whale fish pun for topic appropriateness. Like, I guess I have this whole plan for how I get you to accept the truth and it would work, because let's be real, I'm a fucking genius. But also, I'm pretty sure that it would involve blowing up a whole bunch more shit, or at least mega escapades.
How about shenanigans? Oh, you know it!
Shenanigans out the ass! The point is, I knew that it would be hard, maybe hazardous to our relationship and or your physical health, but I knew that you were worth it. And also, for what it's worth, I don't give a effing fuck about dunking on your ass. None of us do. With a third and final huff, Jane slumps down on the ground, visibly deflated. All the tempest and fury is gone out of her, and she's now sitting and gazing glumly at the wall of bubblegum pink on her screen. She seems utterly miserable. You want to comfort her, to offer solace and friendly counsel in this trying time. There comes a moment in every teen's upbringing when she realizes that the globe-spanning multi-billion-dollar corporation, which is her birthright, has also been responsible for some pretty shady and heinous nonsense, including multiple attempts on her own life. It's just part of growing up. But somehow you just can't find the words, and maybe it's not your place to comment anyway. Before you can think of something to say, Jane shakes her head and starts typing again.
Alright, that's enough sitting around feeling all forlorn.
I'm feeling P-okay, actually.
No, me! I'm talking about myself.
This new reality is one that I simply have to accept whether I like it or not, and it's no good being glum about it, especially not if it leads me to mistreat my nearest and dearest. So I'm not going to be the leader of a worldwide mega-corporation. Big deal! There are better things to be applying my savvy towards. The friends who have my back, for instance. Oh my god, Janie, I'm loving this new enthusiasm. I understand I've been remiss in my duties as of late, but that ends now. Where once I had a duty to my heritage, now I have a duty to those who care about me. The call of leadership comes from elsewhere. Oh, yes! These words are typing, meaningful, and full of poignancy. Jane strikes a pose that looks at once determined, bold, fearless, and resolute, and all while still typing fiercely away at her mobile. It just goes to show how hard she must have trained for a moment like this. And so, for my first act as a responsible friend with eyes unclouded by the sugary haze of a manipulative baking empire, I say that it ends here. The game in which we've been pawns for years stops today. Yes! Hell yes! Yes! I think I've rather gone off the idea of games altogether, haven't you? Specifically, the game. Hell fucking... Wait, what? The Alpha! I've decided that I'm not going to participate. It's a Crocker Corp product, and it's clearly part of some grand evil scheme or another. It'd be positively suicidal to consider playing it at this point. Well, yes, but... But what? There's no doubt in my mind about it. Furthermore, as your friend and as one recently reminded of our duty to care in this regard, I feel like I should strongly advise against any of us playing it. Or anyone at all, for that matter. Now that I think about it, it's our solemn responsibility to ensure that nobody ever gets their hand on this game. Just imagine the havoc it would wreak. We've got 1 week before the Alpha is due to release. I'm certain we can think of some nefarious schemes to disrupt it in the meantime if we work together as a team. I trust I'll be able to count on your hacksaw skills in this endeavor. Sure. Completely accidental lack of excitement. My 6 skills are yours to command. I knew it. You're the best BFFC one could hope for. Heart. Jane clears her throat, pockets her phone, and seems to have reached some kind of conclusion. That chat looked from the outside like it was one huge emotional journey from start to finish. You're glad that Jane seems to be feeling better for having had it, whatever they ended up talking about. Sometimes, all you need is a friend to vent things towards in a healthy and productive manner. I suppose I should thank you again. Without your help, I may have never learned the truth. It's quite possible I would have lived out the rest of my potentially very short life without another opportunity to see things for what they really were. I don't know how I shall ever repay you, since nothing has changed the fact that Jane is ludicrously wealthy. You can think of a great number of ways that she could feasibly repay you, but that might just be pushing it a little too far all at once. So instead, you effortlessly spin some yarn about this being what friends are for, and so on. It's a speech you've given many, many times before. I've depended on you for a great deal, but I think it's time to forge my own path, and under my own steam. I'll show the world what Jane Crocker can accomplish with naught but her 2 bare hands. Now, if you excuse me, I have an existential crisis to avert. Existential crisis! Ba-da-lum. Bump. And thus ends the rest of the fucking PESTERQuest. Thank you.